let's take the bird perspective at the current environment, which is always necessary. You always need to understand in which environment you are working in. This is a digital environment. So we turn to PricewaterhouseCoopers and their Global Entertainment and Media Outlook. They are saying that global entertainment and media spending will rise to 2.1 trillion in the next 5 years. Once again, $2.1 trillion. More important is to understand that digital spending actually will increase by 12.1% compared to 2.8% for non-digital. This translates into an expectation of 67% of total entertainment and media spending growth until 2016, which is generated purely by digital content, media, devices, and so on. The three largest entertainment markets are the US, Japan, and China. Europe? We're not talking about Europe here. Yeah? That's interesting to understand. Europe doesn't play a role. So we managed to do that. Yeah? The inventors of MP3 files managed to put themselves out of the picture. This is brilliant, just to show you how innovative and how switched on we are in Europe. In this current environment, we still talk about media convergence. Things are coming together, devices are coming together, screens are able to show you God knows everything. And there are a couple of things that are important to observe in this climate of media convergence. First of all, a corporate concentration. You see fewer very, very big companies, holdings, which own more and more media products, properties. Newspapers, radio stations, television stations in the same market. They need certain things because they own different media companies. There are some strategies these companies are following. Economic strategies, which means that they like to buy or produce properties which can be used on all those platforms and devices they own. So it should be something like a seamless traveling from content from one property to another, from one television channel over to the radio channel, to the newspaper, to the magazines, to the apps. It's all one for them. And they need content that is able to live on all those platforms. And it is very attractive for advertisers, because all of a sudden they can talk to one partner and they reach all those platforms. So all that, what I just said, is an environment that is made for independent filmmakers. If you think strategically and if you understand that all those platforms, all those devices are just waiting for content because the pipelines, the technical means exist, what's missing still is content. You need to think about how to produce more products, how to enhance and maximize your IP, your intellectual property. You cannot settle for a film. It's not enough. Nobody will see it. 1,300 films, nobody will see it. That should be your assumption. So how can you get yourself out there? How can you establish visibility for your film, which you invest years of your life in? How can you do that? So you need to figure out how you can create more revenues. How can you create more products you can sell to an audience? So who are these people? What do they want? What can you sell them? What are they happy to pay for? If you don't know that, you have nothing. The company P in Sweden, who is amongst the pioneers of what they call participative and social entertainment, say audiences have left the sofa for the keyboard and viewers changed from passive audience to active co-creators. The trends in society towards a more involved audience calls for participative and social entertainment. You might have heard the use of cross-media, transmedia. I also use both terms. Cross-media for me is, let's say, a more opportunistic use of different story pieces you put on different devices after a film has been successful in the theater or on DVD. So you figure, oh, that's a good moment, now we can do more. And you start to create more content that you put on different devices. Transmedia is a strategic decision in the very beginning, where you think of a narrative that you break down and you tell this bit on this platform, another bit on that platform, another bit on this platform, which means the viewer, the audience, your consumer has to go to all the platforms in order to get the whole story. You always have a good experience if you only see one thing or you interact with one part, but the whole story you understand only if you have been to all those platforms. That, I believe, is the difference between transmedia and cross-media. One is a strategic choice, and the other one is a film that might become a game, that then might become a comic novel, or it was first a comic novel and then it's a film, and then, it's an evolutionary process. In transmedia, it's a concept. The inventor, the let's say, brain behind cross-media is Henry Jenkins from MIT, who says the art of storytelling across multiple platforms where each element makes a distinctive contribution to consumers' understanding to the world of the story in question. That is cross-media. And it's interesting, he speaks about consumers. Yeah? He's not speaking about an audience, because he sees a consumer in the person who is actually watching your content. If we continue with some defining thoughts, we can say cross-media involves more than one device. I think this is obvious. A range of different ways in which you tell your story. You always will aim at what we call integrated production, because you don't want to recreate your thing for each and every platform. So you need to think integrated production. What do I need to produce now that I can use later on a different medium? It is about using all this media, all these platforms, all these devices, all these different ways of telling your story to get one narrative across, to tell one complete story, to break it down, maybe in bits and pieces, but all this exercise supports one purpose, one mission, one message. Yeah, you don't tell different stories on different devices. You tell different pieces of the same story on different devices.